When you hear the phrase compound interest, what comes to mind? For most people, it's the classic image of money multiplying quietly in the background, a force so powerful that Albert Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world. We're told that if we just start early, save consistently, and let time do its magic, we'll wake up one day to a fortune built almost effortlessly. But what if I told you that this story is only half the truth? That the same force that can build wealth can also destroy it, and that the dark side of compound interest is quietly shaping your financial life in ways you may never have considered? Let's start with the basics. Compound interest is the process by which interest is added to your principal, so that from that moment on, the interest that has been added also earns interest. It's exponential growth, and over decades, it can turn small, regular investments into a substantial nest egg. This is the story we all know, the one that fills personal finance books and investment seminars. But there's another side to this coin, and it's one that banks, credit card companies, and even governments know all too well. Imagine you have a credit card balance of $5,000 with an interest rate of 20%. If you only make the minimum payment each month, the interest compounds against you. Instead of shrinking, your debt grows, and the amount you owe can double or even triple over time. The same mathematical force that can make you rich as an investor can make you poor as a borrower. This is the trap that millions fall into every year, seduced by the promise of just pay later and unaware of how quickly the numbers can spiral out of control. Contrast this with the way compound interest is usually presented. We're shown charts of investment growth, told stories of janitors who died millionaires, and encouraged to start saving as early as possible. But rarely do we see the other side. The families crushed by payday loans, the students buried under mountains of compounding student debt, the retirees who watch their savings eroded by years of high-interest obligations. The dark side of compound interest is that it doesn't care whether it is working for you or against you. It just keeps compounding, but the story gets even more complicated. Compound interest doesn't just affect individuals. It shapes entire economies. Consider national debt. When governments borrow money, they pay interest on that debt. If they can't pay it off, the interest compounds, and the debt grows larger and larger. Some countries spend more on interest payments than on education or healthcare. The result? A vicious cycle where more and more of the budget goes to servicing old debt, leaving less for everything else. The same force that can build empires can also bring them to their knees. There's also the psychological side. Compound interest is slow at first, almost invisible. In the early years, the growth is barely noticeable, whether you're saving or borrowing. This lulls people into a false sense of security. I'll pay it off later, we tell ourselves. I have plenty of time. But then, seemingly overnight, the numbers explode. The curve goes vertical, and what once seemed manageable becomes overwhelming. This is why so many people are caught off guard by the time they realize what's happening. It's often too late. So what can you do to protect yourself from the dark side of compound interest? First, understand that time is both your greatest ally and your worst enemy. The earlier you start saving, the more compound interest works for you. But the longer you carry debt, the more it works against you. Every month you delay paying off high-interest balances, you're feeding the beast. Second, be wary of minimum payments. Credit card companies design their payment structures to maximize the amount of interest you pay over time. If you only pay the minimum, you could end up paying 2 or 3 times the original amount you borrowed. Always pay more than the minimum, and if possible, pay off your balance in full every month. Third, don't underestimate the power of small changes. Just as small, regular investments can grow into a fortune, small, regular payments can shrink your debt much faster than you think. The key is consistency and discipline. Set up automatic payments, round up your payments, and look for ways to cut expenses so you can put more toward your principal. Fourth, educate yourself about the true cost of borrowing. Before taking on any new debt, calculate how much you'll pay in interest over the life of the loan. Use online calculators, ask questions, and read the fine print. Don't be seduced by low monthly payments, focus on the total cost. Finally, remember that compound interest is a tool. Like any tool, it can be used for good or ill. The difference is how you use it. If you harness its power to build wealth, it can change your life. If you ignore its dangers, it can quietly erode everything you've worked for. The story of compound interest is not just about numbers, it's about choices. Every day, you make decisions that determine whether this force is working for you or against you. The banks, the credit card companies, and the payday lenders are all betting that you won't pay attention. But you can prove them wrong. By understanding the dark side of compound interest, you can take control of your financial future and turn a potential enemy into your greatest ally.